Hello, can I share you guys a secret? Yeah, I'm gonna share you a secret. I'm gonna make my tooth disappear here in a second. All right, Woota, why is the camera so bad? All right, I mean, like, I'm just really annoyed because I spilled something and the camera does not look the way I want it to look. Actually, Woota, zoota, zut. There, I made it disappear and come back. Actually, do you like that? Pretty cool, huh? I have a secret that I have never told anybody, so yeah. Making my tooth disappear. So yeah. Oh, there we go. That's probably what it is. Okay, backing off. Crap. Oh crap. Well, I see what the problem is now. Actually, zooming in actually makes it look a little bit more blurry. So yeah, I see the problem though. So yeah, I see the problem now. So now I'm just chilling, and I'm chilling with you guys. It's good night now. Tonight. You guys having a good night? What's up? What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good night? I'm having a really good night. I just got 20 subscribers tonight. 20 subscribers because a bunch of trolls came on and chilled with me. Basically, I didn't even intend for that. And I didn't even imply that, but they just came on and they were just chilling. I don't know. I mean, a lot of them may not probably last. A lot of trolls. They come on and they do this, they do the thing, and then they just unsubscribe because they're just not getting the attention they want. Basically. So but I was really, really impressed. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, is this weekend. It's gonna be 90 degrees. Actually, it's gonna be 90 degrees on Saturday. So I'm gonna go fishing. And it's gonna be a really good time. I haven't been fishing in years. I really need to go fishing again because I enjoy it for the relaxation part. That's the only thing that I enjoy basically, and that's the only reason why I do it. Basically for the relaxation part. So we're gonna have a really good weekend. I hope I catch some channel. I hope I catch some bass. Basically, that's what good eating around here, and that's what they catch around here. So I mean, it's gonna be really, really good. Anybody have any suggestions of what I should do, this weekend or anything like that? Questions, concerns, comments, what I should cook next time or what? I wasn't gonna go live tonight, but the weather was so nice. I really wanted to go with the weather basically, so that's why I came on tonight. Actually, I just really was going with the weather. The weather is so nice. Like it's 50 degrees out right now. I shouldn't even be wearing a jacket because the AC, but the AC is blowing so well here. I am so comfortable. It's amazing, actually. Hello, Paisley. How you doing? Oh, you attempted to? Yes. Or you attempted what? To go fishing or what? What'd you attempt? I don't know what you mean. So yeah, that's that. And but I hope everybody is going to have a good weekend. I know for a fact that I am going to have a great weekend. I know for a fact I'm going to have a good weekend. Because I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to do something that I haven't done in years. It's gonna be amazing, actually. Hello, how you doing, Dragon911? How you doing? So yeah, it's gonna be a really good weekend, and we're gonna have a good time, And I hope that I catch a fish, and hopefully that I can catch what I eat, and cook something or something like that, It's gonna be really cool. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. We had a really, really weird time actually for a second. I was zooming in and you could see me right on my nose. Actually, it was really bad. Actually, it was really blurry. So no, I zoomed out actually. So I just finally did this thing where I zoomed out and it worked actually. So yeah, zooming out actually worked. So that was the problem. So I was zoomed in too much actually. So yeah. I hope everybody else is having a great weekend. I know for a fact I'm gonna have a great weekend tomorrow, and you guys are gonna be right with me. I hope, and we're gonna catch some good fish. We're gonna catch some fish. We're gonna go fishing. We're gonna catch some good fish. It's gonna be delicious, and we're gonna cook it up. Hopefully, we're gonna be able to cook it up for you guys actually. So I hope you guys are gonna like it. You know, if I catch a fish, hopefully that I will. I mean, that I'm praying or hoping that I will if I do catch one. If I do catch one someday, you guys are gonna be the first to know that I cut it up and catch it and cook it for you guys. So yeah, that's what I really want to do. I really love bass and catfish are really common here. And I went to a place where there was a lot of catfish. Actually, we caught some really big ass catfish. Actually, a lot of people say catfish are like the cockroaches of certain creeks or whatever. But I mean, like, I like catfish. I think catfish are good eating. They're really good. I like trout. I like swordfish. I like flounder. I like salmon. I don't like that box shit that you buy at the grocery store or anything like that. No, I'm not into that. Anything like that. I'm not gonna eat or buy anything like that. So yeah, I mean, like, I mean, I have, and every Friday and during Lent or every Friday in general, being a Catholic, that was a place that was a day that we dreaded because my mom used to buy that box crap from dollar store or box crap from Wegmans or Walmart or something like that. It was no good. It was really no good. I didn't like it. I didn't like it a lot. It tasted like crap. It was crap. It is crap, and it was crap basically. But now she will not buy anything TV dinners anyway. And she wondered why we cried all the time every Friday came because she used to serve us that box dinner, fish, and it was terrible. It was absolutely disgusting and terrible, actually. So that's the problem, actually. And I mean, like, that box dinner stuff that you buy from the dollar store or Food for Less or something like that, that fish is disgusting. Fish, frozen fish does not taste that good, from box stores. Yo, what's up, Liturgy? How you doing? Liturgy, bye. How you doing? How you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. We're having a good night. I was just talking about my plans this weekend. I was talking about how great the weather is and how great it's going to be this weekend. And I'm talking about I'm going to catch a fish. Hopefully, if I do catch a fish, I will cook it for you guys. I hope I catch a channel catfish and cook it for you guys. So that's what I want to do. So yeah, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be a good weekend, and yeah, I mean, you guys are gonna enjoy it with me. I'm gonna make sure I stream my fish and everything like that. It's gonna be really cool actually. So yeah, I love you guys. I love you guys so much. Actually, you guys are the reason why I have a show. I mean, I love that fact that you guys have given me a show. When I was a kid, all the things I ever said to my parents and my family, I wanted to be an actor so much. I want to be an actor. I love I feel like acting like a certain character in front of a camera is a beautiful art, or in front of other people, an audience. Selling it to an audience, that's a beautiful art. That is a beautiful art, actually. It's the art of deception. Like, take for instance, like Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln. You're never gonna become Abraham Lincoln, but can you sell it to it? Can you pretend to be Abraham Lincoln and lie to people and sell it to an audience to where it's believable? Yeah, absolutely you can. And that is beautiful. That's what I love about that. I think it's absolutely beautiful that people can do that. And that's the person that I wanted to be for so long. But I suck at it, actually. I suck, and you guys see it all the time, actually. I have tics. I get camera shy. I mean, like, and that's why one of the reasons why I drink, actually, is because, having a drink in front of a camera actually makes you more sociable, And that's the thing. Yes, I do believe in God and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I'm Catholic. I'm a Roman Catholic, actually. It actually says it on my intro. Actually, anybody reads my intro, but obviously people do not read my... what's really weird is that, people ask me this question and they do not read my intro. Apparently, a lot of you don't read my intro. You guys really are being trolls, actually. If you're not going to read my intro, and then that's actually proof right there, you're going to be a troll, actually. But no, I will be honest with you. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. I am Catholic, and I love Jesus Christ, and I try to love him more and more every day, So that's that. That's. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I've seen you before, actually. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here come the trolls. But no, I was actually talking about, like, what is a what did I want to be when I grew up? All of my teachers, all my family and friends asked me the question. Actually, what I want to be? I want to be an actor. I always wanted to be an actor when I grew up. Actually, if I could go back in time, to 2018 to 2019, you're going to become an actor on the next best thing, YouTube. I would say, what the flip is YouTube? You know what I mean? If I can go back and tell my younger self anything, I would say start a YouTube channel when I was 18, basically, start cooking. But my younger self probably wouldn't listen. But I always wanted to be an actor, like a famous actor. I think acting is a beautiful art. I think acting is it is a beautiful art. Selling a performance to an audience. That's what you're doing. You're like a salesman, kind of. You're selling, basically taking an example, Abraham Lincoln, it'd be harder to actually play him because you have to read books and you have to go by word of mouth and base a personality based on what you read, based on his mannerisms, based on his, skill set, based on the way you talked and everything like that. You have to base a character off that, basically. Take Richard Nixon, though. Richard Nixon, that would be easier because there's actually audio evidence of him. There's audio evidence of him. So, like, take that, and base a performance off the audio evidence, base his mannerisms, base that, base this, That's how you, and then sell it to an audience, actually, to where it's believable, because you're never going to become that person. You're gonna base a performance off what you know and what you saw with the research that you did. So that's beautiful, and I think that is absolutely beautiful to sell that to an audience. That's what I like, actually, to perform that way in front of an audience. I think that's absolutely cool. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Take another thing, like the Joker. Everybody's going to be a different Joker. It depends on your personality, depends on you, depends on where you're going to be, depends on how you are. It depends on a lot of things. Do your research on psychopaths. That's what I would do, and then kind of act like one, not act like one, but do what I need to do to put my mindset in one, like Heath Ledger did, but he went too far, actually. And then, base my performance on that, actually. Base my performance on the experience that I did put myself through, and then base my acting skill on the other performances that I saw, and based on my, research study that I did on psychopaths. Basically, that's how acting is, basically. And that's what I think is beautiful. That's why I think acting is so, so beautiful, because of that reason, actually. And, I think it's really cool, when somebody wins an Academy Award, when I feel like the Academy Awards are really weird, actually. I would, if I was at the Emmys or the Oscars, I would just talk about, the fun that I had on set, actually. All this bullshit humanism, this weird, stupid, what do you call it? Speeches these actors have on there. It's so weird and stupid, actually. I would just talk about, this role was really cool. This role I did not like. This role was really hard for me because I had to do this. This role was really easy. I enjoyed this role. I would love to do it again, actually. That's what they should talk about, but they don't do that. They just talk about this and that and nonsense, complete bullshit nonsense, actually. So yeah, that's what irritates me, actually. And Will Smith was not invited. Of course, he was not. He was not invited. And Sinners was a good movie. Sinners deserved to win Best Actor. Sinners did deserve what they got, actually. Sinners did a good job, actually. Sinners was a good movie, actually. Good job with the costume design. Good job with the dialogue. Good job with everything else. Good job with a lot of things, actually. So yeah, they did a really, really good job. On the Fright Fest, actually. So yeah, it was a really good movie. I will say it was a very, very good movie. That was the first movie me and my brother saw last year, actually, in 2025. I really liked it. It was worth watching. If you haven't seen Sinners, it was really good, actually. So I can imagine why it won almost won best picture. So anyway, Hayden, hi. Hello, Hayden. How you doing? Doing well. I know, and I agree. Horror movies should wouldn't be best, or B movies. They're B movies. They're never going to be great movies. I feel like, a lot of horror movies should never win Best Picture, because they're horror movies. They're here for entertainment and for horror and to jump us out of our seats, basically. I want a movie with drama. I want a movie with suspense. I want a movie that does good in every category, or tries so hard to do good in every category. So, and that's why, I agree with a lot of Oscar picks, but some of them I do not, actually. I don't agree with Titanic. I don't think Titanic should have won Best Picture, actually. It was a good movie in its own way, but, it was just love story-wise. No, it wasn't that great, but, it was kind of stupid and gay, actually, but yeah, and, I mean, like, it was good visual effects, good this, good that. You know, it could have been better, but I do agree with Braveheart. Braveheart should have won Best Picture. I think Braveheart was a phenomenal movie, and I actually honor the fact that it did win Best Picture. I agree. The Departed won Best Picture for a good reason. Actually, The Departed was a great movie. Actually, The Departed. There was a lot of movies that I do see that I can understand why they won Best Picture. They were good movies, actually. So yeah, and that's the movie I could watch all the time. The Departed. It was a good movie, and I'm glad it won Best Picture. So yeah. Hello, how you doing, Aiden? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, and that's that actually. So yeah, I mean, like, what do you guys think should have won Best Picture? Actually, I didn't see all the movies this year, but I will say the movies that I did watch that I did like actually, Together was good, but it was really messed up, but it was good. I didn't enjoy watching it in some sense. Actually, I could see the character study, I could see the drama in it, but it was interesting. It was very interesting more than anything. Actually, messed up, but it was interesting. So that's what I liked about that. And I love Sinners. Sinners was a really really good movie. I really liked watching it. Trying to think what else I saw last year that came out. But yeah, any of you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, or anything like that? I'd love to hear about it. I did not see F1. I did not see Marty Supreme. I didn't see any of those. I did not even see Anora. Tell me if those movies are worth a watch. Let me know, actually. So that's what I want to hear, actually. If those movies are really, really worth a watch, I'd love to hear about that. So yeah, I mean, like, tell me. I mean, like, is F1 a really good watch? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to hear about that. So yeah, so I'm here to talk about best pictures. I'm here to talk about movies. I'm here to talk about what I like or what I do not like. And I'm here to talk about acting and things that I want to do when I grow up. Actually, I always wanted to be an actor when I grew up. I always wanted to be an actor, actually. And I told my teachers, I told my mother this, and the reason why I like acting is because I think it's absolutely beautiful to sell an art on screen, actually. To sell a performance to an audience, basically. It's basically the art of performance, basically, you're selling a performance to an audience, basically. Like, take, for instance, like I said, Richard Nixon, it would be easier to actually play him because, there's audio evidence and there's visual evidence of him, and, it would be very, very easy to play him because, based on performance off the visual that you see of him, the audio evidence and the visuals that you see of him, and then actually, read books about him, hear about word of mouth, and then base your performance off his characteristics and mannerisms, the way he spoke, and then base your performance on that, actually, the character study. So that'd be interesting, actually. I think that's that, and you're never going to become that character. You're never going to become Richard Nixon, but, can you sell it to an audience to where it's believable? Yes, that's what I think is amazing, actually. Selling that to an audience and making it believable. That is amazing, actually. That's what I really like. I think that's absolutely amazing. So, yeah. Anybody have questions, concerns, comments? We're going to have a good weekend. We're going to go fishing this weekend. And it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be 90 degrees this weekend. 90 degrees. So, yeah. No, we're gonna have a really good weekend. We're gonna have a really, really good weekend. We're gonna catch some fish. Hopefully we'll catch some fish, and hopefully I'll be able to cook what I catch, and hopefully you guys will be able to watch, and it's gonna be really, really good, actually. So that's what I like, actually. So I mean, if you guys want to watch, hopefully I'll find a good recipe to make my fish if I catch one. If hope and pray. That's what I do. And that's what I'm gonna do, actually. And don't worry, I will stream it. I promise you, I will stream this, and it's gonna be really, really good. Cheers, everybody. And that's what I really want to hear, actually. So yeah. Everybody having a good night. Everybody having a good weekend. Everybody having a good Thursday into Friday night. Or Friday morning. And that's what I want to hear. I hope everybody is having a good Friday afternoon. I hope everybody's doing well. This, that, this, and all that fun stuff. I really like it. I like it a lot. Oh wow! Why did I say? Oh, I didn't even see this crap. Oh crap! Hello, Esther. How you doing? Esther? Hello, Eddie. How you doing? Oh, wow. I didn't even see this thing move, actually. Cheers. Oh, wow. Now you saw me. Oh, okay. Well, it's really weird, actually. I didn't even see, the chats, actually. Oh, crap. It didn't even show chats actually move, actually. Oh, now people are moving. So, yeah. I'm so sorry. I didn't even see the chats moving. It didn't even show the chats moving or anything like that. So, yeah. Sorry, Esther. Sorry. Hey, Esther. I love when you call me Philly because I'm Philly. Like Philly Mouse Squish. That's so cool. Oh, dear. No, I did not see what happened in Timonton Square, it's all on repeat. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm wild. Yeah, 90 degrees is really hot, actually. So, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We're having a really good night, though. I'm just chit-chatting with you guys, Oh, okay, maybe I'm just chilling with a trend, actually. Um, because, like, you're like the seventh person to say that tonight. I look like a cross between Wolverine and Mr. Pattinson, Robert Pattinson. I don't mind that because I love looking like a Batman. I want to be the Batman, actually. I am the Batman. Well, actually, he's better than me because he doesn't drink alcohol, actually, so yeah. I will say this. I was going to say, I was actually to a point where I was actually, the last two lives that I did, actually, I wasn't going to go live for the last 2 weeks, and hopefully I won't do it again because I need to give it up for Lent. But, like, oh, I think, I took it as a compliment too, I will say, like, I was getting into a trend, actually, I had people commenting and everything like that, actually. Oh, I know it does, actually. I'm an alcoholic, yes. I know, and I love you too, Esther. Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you're here. You're the reason why it keeps me going. You know what? I love you, Esther. You're my best friend. I promise you. Anyway. No, I know alcohol is a problem in my life, actually. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I drink a lot. And no, I don't drink every day. I'll be honest with you. I don't drink every day, but I drink on the weekends, actually. But on the weekends, I drink very, very heavily. When I drink very, very heavily. Okay, not every day, but maybe once during the week, yes, I drink heavily. And then on the Friday and Saturday, I drink a lot, actually, yes. But no, I mean, I am a former drug user too, and but I'm done with drugs. I haven't done drugs in a very long time, but no, alcohol is a demon of mine, actually. So yes, I will say that. But I've been open and honest about that many, many times. There's a video about me talking about it openly. So yeah. I'm so glad you come on here. You're a very good friend. I feel like you're one of my best friends now. I feel like you're family, honestly, Esther. I really am so happy that you're here. I would really miss if I never saw you again. I hope I never lose you as a follower. You're an amazing person, and you always give me the best compliments. You always give me such happy you're always respectful in your criticism. You're always so kind to me. Are you such a good friend? I don't deserve it. Of course. That's why I'm here, because of you. You're the reason why I have a channel. You're the reason why I keep going. Because you believe in me. I know you do. And I love hanging out with people like you. Especially you, Esther. And anyway. So yeah, I don't know what that means, but okay. So no, I was actually, the last two lives that I did, I got 20 subscribers. I got 20 subscribers. I don't think my first 100 videos even deserved 100 likes, actually. So yeah, I'm so glad, they got to where they are, I used to have such a low self-esteem. I used to think, like, I was worthless, and I thought I was a piece of shit human being, honestly. But you know what? You're the reason why I believe again. You really are. I really, really felt like I was worth nothing and nobody liked me, and I wasn't worth anything, honestly. I had the lowest self-esteem in the world, actually. Well, I had a low self-esteem and everything, but yeah. You guys, including you, Esther, especially you, Esther, people like you, are the reason why I believe myself, actually. I really like it. I like it a lot. I was going to give up this stuff for Lent, actually, and I apologize, I'm not going to post probably until Easter, until almost Easter, maybe Easter Saturday. But I'm not going to post until then. You know, the only reason why I went live tonight is actually because the weather was so nice. We had such great plans this weekend. We're going to go fishing. You know, it's going to be 90 degrees this weekend, actually. So, yeah, it's going to be really good. And, you know, I really want to post, but I'm not going to do it. I have to give it up for Lent, you know, because I love hanging out with you guys. I love to cook, and I love sharing with you guys. I love sharing my recipes with you guys. You guys are amazing, actually. You guys have been amazing to me. You know, you guys are the reason why I have a show, you know. I really like it. So yeah, no, I'll definitely make a video of it. All right, I'm lost actually. Where am I going? Hello, Angel. How you doing? Kelly. Hey, Kelly. How you doing? Oh, are you kidding me? Take off your toes. Fishing with myself, actually. I'm going fishing with myself. I do everything myself, actually. You know, and I'm gonna get to this. I'm gonna get to this in another live, actually. You know, I do the best myself, actually. About relationships and everything, actually. And I actually did cover this at one point, actually. Well, maybe. Should I cover this or should I not? I don't know. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm going to say it. You know, I'm going to say it, actually. You weren't here, Esther, when I talked about this, actually. You know, you guys probably know who Nick Fuentes is, you know, the controversial person, the right-wingish, you know, and everything. You know, he was talking about this, and I did talk about this in another live, actually. Maybe you were here, maybe you weren't. But, like, he said, you know, I'm single. You know, he considers himself kind of an well, I don't think he really is. No, I don't think he's a bad guy in his own way, but you know, he has a lot of views I do not agree with. He's a weirdo. Yeah, I do not like the way he treats his fans. He treats his fans like crap. Actually, he's kind of a prick, and he makes them look stupid. Actually, but like he did say something that made a lot of sense. Actually, you know, when you become a content creator and you create content consistently, and YouTube is your favorite, and YouTube is like your a big job of yours that you do it consistently. You know, getting into a relationship is really difficult. You know, you could date somebody, and then after you date them for a while, they could break up with you, and then they can make a YouTube channel and then trash you or something like that. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful of that. You know what I mean? To say, "Oh, this person abused me," and then there it is. You ruined your career, basically. So he made a lot of sense to say that, actually. So yeah, I think about that now that I'm a content creator, basically. Well, you let me know, okay? And that's why I'm sharing what I'm sharing with you guys, actually. So yeah, I mean, like, all I have to do is date somebody who actually acts like they like me and they want to get with, and they want to have a relationship with me, and they want to grow old, and they want to get married and all that fun stuff. And then after several months, they break up with me and they start their own YouTube channel and they steal my fame and say he was abusive jerk, basically. You know what I mean? And I actually witnessed it. I witnessed it, actually. I go on lives all the time, actually, and they say there's two people, they did a YouTube channel together, and now they're not together anymore. And now and now I actually watch the YouTube channel with two of them. They actually hammer each other. You know what I mean? They both tell their stories, but you know, obviously it takes two to tangle, and you know you can't judge. And you know, I think it's really bad. You know, I think YouTube, you know, social media has made it easy to judge people too fast. Actually, okay, some things you can judge really fast, but you know, you shouldn't always judge somebody. If somebody's acting like a Karen in one video, doesn't mean they're a Karen all the time. Okay, you know what I mean? So we shouldn't judge somebody off one video, honestly. Unless they're doing something extremely evil, then you can see their character, you know. But you know, everybody has their problems. Everybody makes mistakes, you know. I mean, like, yeah. So if I ever get into a relationship, hopefully, and I pray to God every day that, you know, this person doesn't care about social media, they just care about me and they love me for me, not my money or my fame or anything like that. And they don't want to, and they're not that type of people to slander me on social media, you know what I mean? So that's the problem, you know what I mean? No, there are, you know, and I well, well, let me go back. You know, you guys are, oh yeah, and you know, I've seen couples do it too. You know, that's what I'm talking about, and that's and you know, that might be the one of the reasons why I'm single. You know, I have to think about things. You know, yeah, I've seen it too, actually. So yeah, that's the thing. You know, the Whoa channel, the Ewo channel. Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking. Oh, you knew exactly what I was talking about. That's the channel I was talking about, actually, and and you know that, and I'm sure there's other channels like that too. Kaylee, you know exactly what I'm talking about then. So yeah. Well, I mean, like, Nick Fuentes is a weirdo. I agree with some things he says, but the way he treats his fans is bullshit. Actually, he treats his fans like shit. Honestly, crap. He treats his fans like crap. I mean, like, it was like, oh, I went to Raising Cane's. I was like, what the hell? Are you stupid? What did you get at Raising Cane's? What do you think I got? Chicken. This, that. They only have three things. I was like, dude, why are you trying to make your fans look like stupid people? Okay, they're just asking a question. Chill out, dude. Oh, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, if anybody wants to get mad at me, I've had some problems with our followers, I've said some, you know, I made some mistakes, I've read, followers' comments wrong. I've read into things too deeply and I've got into it with followers, but I've apologized and I was really happy the other day. There was a follower who made a comment and I looked into it or read it wrong, basically. And I started arguing with him, and he got really upset. And then he made a comment the other day, it was really upsetting, and then I actually apologized to him because I was like, I knew he actually liked my channel one time. So we're really cool now, actually. So you know what? We all make mistakes. So I'm really happy that we're cool now, though. But you know what? I'm human. I just want to be human, just like everybody else. I don't want to be that hated YouTuber or want to be that YouTuber that can get away with talking shit to his followers and say this, that, this, because he has all the money in the world. I hope I never become that YouTuber. I want to become the YouTuber that makes talking to you guys that love what I do as a job. That's what I want to do. I don't do politics. Please stop asking me this. If you want to see my politics, I am on Rumble, okay? I am on Rumble, okay? I will be political on Rumble. I don't post as much there, but I will do it if you guys want me to. Oh dear. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, like, people who I don't really always agree. When somebody makes a video, I can understand it's becoming a staple now. People posting or making a video of somebody acting like a jerk. They shouldn't always do that. We're all human, okay? We make mistakes. And I've done it before. I'm sure I acted like a Karen when I was having a bad day. We don't know what they're going through. We don't. We shouldn't judge somebody off one video, okay? I think that's ruining people's reputation, okay? I think social media and, the Karen staple is ruining people's, you know. Oh, I'm sure every person makes a mistake, but, I don't do politics. If you want to see politics, go on my Rumble channel, okay? I've said this numerous times, go on my Rumble channel. We're all human, including presidents. They make mistakes too. I'm sure Trump made a lot of mistakes too. Yeah, whether I support him or not, but So yeah, we have to look at it from that perspective. You have to look at the whole picture. Actually, you make a video of somebody cursing somebody out because they parked in a parking spot that was theirs, and then they're arguing about it. And they post it all over social media. You ruin that person's reputation. I don't think that's right, actually. Nobody wants a camera shoved in their face. No, exactly. And like, nobody wants a camera shoved in their face. I don't want a camera shoved in my face, like when I'm eating dinner, and chill, I don't want somebody posting me on social media when I'm just chilling and all that fun stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, I look like crap at first, but, and the other thing is, like, I want to enjoy my life, Like, for instance, I'll give you an example, I mean, like, let me think about a Karen video that I've watched, actually. There are some Karens that are jerks, actually, and they deserve, what, somebody telling them off. Sometimes you have to tell a Karen off. You do have to, but, you have to put them in their place. But, I'll give you an example. Who is that one person, Oh, like, well, one video I saw, like, well, like, all right. Well, I mean, I'm talking about a video a lot of people probably would know about, but, There was this one video where this cop gave a person a ticket, you know, and I really liked this video. This cop was really good. He did a really good job. He did a good job on this one. And he said, you know, there was this, he was pulling over this teenagers and, you know, he gave them, you know, a ticket or something, maybe for a license that was expired. I don't know. No, it was a tag expired or something like that, you know. And, you know, the person pulled up and they were a lawyer and they were the mother of the person that they pulled over. And they came out and they just started acting like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? You know, it was clearly they were being a Karen. They were pissed off, actually. But they were trying to use legal advice to actually, you know, counter or fight, you know, their jurisdiction for giving them a ticket. But they were losing because, you know, the cop obviously acted in the right, actually. He didn't do anything wrong, basically. She could have worded it a lot better. And the cop actually acted like a human being, and I really liked when he finally said this. I really thought it was cool, actually. I was like, you know, Miss, maybe I didn't like your demeanor. Maybe I didn't like how you approached me. Maybe I didn't really like how, you know, you came up to me and acted like a Karen, acted like you knew my job better than me. Maybe I didn't really like actually you were talking all over me and all this bull crap, you know. I mean, you know, maybe I would have actually acted differently if the way you acted wasn't so arrogant and acting like you could do my job better than me, you know, telling me how to do my job. You know, I really liked how he said that. He handled it beautifully. That's what I really liked. And she walked away finally because she was a lawyer and she was acting like a Karen. She was just pissed off. She gave her son this lawyer gave her son a ticket basically, and she couldn't use any legal advice to actually get out of it basically. But she was just using Karen words. So I was like, "What the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this bullshit? You know, this that, yeah." He was really chill, and he acted like a human being. I really liked how he did that, actually. He handled it beautifully. It was like, you know what, miss? Maybe I didn't like your demeanor. Maybe I didn't like how you came out to me, acting like a Karen, acting like you knew my job better than me, acting so arrogantly, telling me how to do my job. You know, I was like, all you had to do was say, I was like, please, no, he doesn't deserve a ticket. Please take it away. You know, you can sometimes say that to a cop, actually. It doesn't always work, but, you know, say what is there any way we can work something out where we don't get a ticket or something like that? You know, okay, I'm probably not even using the right words, but you know what? Sometimes I've seen that. People in handcuffs saying they're going to go to jail and they talk to a cop nicely. I was like, is there any way we can just get a ticket and we could get a court date? And I was like, I've actually seen cops do that, actually. It's not very often, but they will do that. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'm 90% sure. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know for a fact, but you know, it was somebody who was related to her. I could have been her son. It could have sounded like that, but yeah, I could see why she was annoyed. But you know, I mean, like the cop did act in his right. He was doing something wrong. He was either speeding or doing something wrong, and all he did was give him a ticket. He gave him a simple. It wasn't even that big of a deal, honestly. It was a simple ticket. I'm going to give you a ticket for an expired license or a traffic stop or failure to signal or speeding, something like that. She came up and acted like she was this and that, but she wasn't using any legal terms to challenge it. You know what I mean? She was just acting like a Karen. And the cop was so cool, actually. And that's what I really loved about that. That was so epic, the way he talked. I was like, maybe I just didn't like the way you talked to me. Maybe if you talked to me more nicely, maybe I actually would have actually worked something out with you. Maybe I could have worked something out where he could have had a court date or something, you know, but you just didn't want to do that. You came up to me telling me how to do my job. You came up to me cursing and swearing at me, you know, this, that, you know. And I really love using that line, actually. Maybe I just didn't like how you came up to me, you know, and I do the same thing with, you know, I do the same thing with comments, you know. Maybe I just didn't like how you commented. Maybe I just didn't like how you say, I suck and I look like shit. I look like I have somebody with Down syndrome because you're shaming me on my looks or something like that, you know. Or, you know, I use the same word too many times. Well, maybe I have a tick, you know. I mean, you're shaming me on my nervous disorder. Maybe I just don't like that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's not nice. Esther, are you still here or what? Are you just watching? Oh dear, here we go. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Kirley21, are you going to subscribe and like or what? I used to have an Xbox 360. I used to play Halo 2. I used to play Nazi Zombies. That's how old I am. That's how old I am, honestly. You know? Oh dear. Why is people being weird and all this fun stuff, you know? Well, what's this? What is this, actually? Well, I don't always fish, but you know, I do cook food though. So, I mean, cooking food is something that I do more regularly, you know. So, if you like cooking and you like rating food and reviewing food, then you would like my channel. You know, I tell everybody the same thing. You know, if you don't like my food, if you don't like what I do, or if you think it's going to be something that's going to be boring, that's totally fine. You don't have to like it. You know, just watch it and see if you like it. If you like what you see, then subscribe. If you don't like it, move on and swipe right. That's how YouTube should work, right? You know what I mean? Give me $500 and they'll do it. Okay. Yeah, for $500 I will. Oh, absolutely. Oh, well then, you're in the right place, Katie. I really like to meet you. I'm very happy to meet you, Katie. Give me a second. Uh, that's how it should be, right? You know, I mean, like, if you don't like what you see, you would swipe, right? I mean, like, some people say they like certain things about my channel and they don't like other things. Then obviously you're being a troll, right? Or you're just actually being, you know, being a Karen or something like that, actually. Or just, you know, being arrogant or being somebody that wants to be in control of somebody. You know what I'm saying? Well, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. I think you should do this, you know? And, you know, I mean, like, I leave the comments on. You know, I say this is not for children because, you know, if you say this is for kids, you know, you won't get comments. They will turn them off. But, you know, I like the constructive criticism. There's a way to be respectful in your criticism, and there's a way to talk about somebody, say, hey, this is what you should do. You know, I think your camera isn't that great. You know, I think you shouldn't do this because, you know, this, that, you know. I think this is when you should time your videos. Don't look in the camera this way, look the other way. You know, I'm just saying, this, that, this, you know. And like I said, I was talking about somebody who said all the wrong words and, you know, used all the words that sounded very offensive, actually, to, you know, and that's why I blocked him. You know, I'm not backing down on this. And I was completely sober when I talked to this person, you know. Hello, Nicholas. How you doing? Nicholas State, how you doing? So yeah, Dakota Bog. You guys are weird, all of you. Queasy people. All you guys are queasy. I like queasy, you know? You from New York? What part of New York you from, my boy? My partner? Oh, I thought you left, Esther. It's nice to see you again. I thought you left. I was so sad. You know? I love bonding with you, Esther. You're one of my biggest fans, actually. You're like family to me now, honestly. You've been following me for almost a year now. I'm not a chef. I'm a professional cook. I'm aspiring to be a chef, you know. I'm going to be modest, okay? Thank you, though. I'm teaching myself how to be a chef. I'm going to learn how to be a chef. I'm going to be the next Anthony Bourdain that you love. I'm going to be the next Anthony Bourdain slash, what do you call him? Guy Fieri. I'm going to be the person that owns the food channel. And you're going to love it, actually, because everything that I do is going to be hilarious, actually. And it's going to be fun. And it's going to be learning. I'm going to teach you guys something. Anything that you guys want me to cook, I'm going to cook to a 5-star perfection. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to make it fun. You know what I mean? That's what I do. And that's what I do every day on my channel. Every time I cook, that's what I do. You know what I mean? And you're the reason why my day goes better, Esther. Yeah. I didn't exactly get what you said, but you know, I kind of understood it, Esther. But yeah, I like him because he's like another version of me. Actually, think of Anthony Bourdain, you think of me. I'm going. You know, I want to be the next version of Anthony Bourdain. That's me, actually, and that's what you're gonna see someday. You know. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna eat delicious food. You know, I'm gonna tell you how to cook delicious food. And he wrote some he wrote some pretty interesting books actually. Kitchen Confidential. He talks about some really messed up, flipped up shit crap that actually happens in kitchens. Actually, he was a chef, and you know some crazy crap actually happens in kitchens. Actually, so yeah. Um, so yeah, but I'm going to be a better version of him. I'm going to be him and Guy Fieri actually. So yeah, and that's who I want to be. That's the person I want to be actually. You know what I mean? And the reason why I like him is because he's a former. You know, he had his problems. He was a former drug user. And he was an alcoholic actually too. Actually, but, you know, I mean, he probably kept it out better than me actually. But yeah, I mean, a lot of, you know, I mentioned this before, a lot of people who are cooks or who work in the cooking industry are alcoholics. A lot of chefs are alcoholics because they deal with people who scream at them all day and curse them out and everything. People who are total major flipping a-holes, you know what I mean? Being screamed at all day. Oh, this is raw, like Gordon Ramsay or something like that. I can't stand that man. I think he's a complete jerk, actually. And like, you know, it's probably for the show. Oh, he's a very talented man, you know what I mean? But you know, somebody like him, and I saw one episode where somebody got in his face, and they deserved it actually. Anthony Bourdain, I think he's an arrogant jerk. I really do. You know what I mean? And like, he's not. I mean, like, you know, he does that show, Restaurant Impossible. You know, it's probably partially staged. I know that for a fact. Actually, you know, Kitchen Nightmares. Is this fresh? Is this fresh? You know what I mean? So basically, the way I look at it, yeah, and this is facts right here, actually. Nobody can serve fresh food every day unless you're serving $100 a plate. Come on, dude. I was like, if you're working in a small time diner, you know, and you're charging $10 or $20 a plate, you know, you can't serve fresh food every day. Okay, you'd have to throw it out every day. Maybe 2 or 3 days you can get away with, but you know what? I mean, after 2 or 3 days, you have to throw it away and make it anew again. You know what I mean? Nobody has the money to do that. You know how much your flipping food costs would be? And to keep up the food costs, it'd be $100 a plate. Dude, it's all bullshit. It's all bull crap. It's all for the show. Everybody knows that. And I would tell him to his face. If that show was real, I'd tell him to his face. Yeah, I was like, dude, if you really want me to, you know, make things fresh every day, I would say, you know, I would have to serve this $100 a plate. You're not going to do that in a small town diner. Get the hell out of here. And yes, I think he's an arrogant jerk, honestly. The way he talks to people. The way he talks to people on Kitchen Nightmares is disgusting, honestly. He belittles people. You shouldn't do that. I've worked with a lot of people like that. That's terrible, honestly. It probably is for the show, but I know for a fact he is like that a little bit. He's arrogant, honestly, because I've seen him on the Tonight Show. You know what I mean? No, Anthony Bourdain has much more talent, and Guy Fieri is a very nice person, actually. There's a way to be a chef and actually critique people in a nice way, actually. Okay, he takes passion in what he does, but you know what? I will say this till my dying day, actually. Gordon Ramsay is an arrogant jerk. He's an arrogant jerk, actually. And you know what? If he talked down to me, I would smack him in the face and walk away, actually. I'm not going to work for somebody who talks to me like I'm an idiot. You know, I'm not going to be belittled all the time, you know what I mean? Hello, Michael. How you doing? How you doing? You know what I mean? I love bonding with you, Esther. It was really nice. I'm glad you're still here. I thought you were gone, actually. So, yeah. Give me a moment, guys. I'm going to grab another drink. Toast with you guys. You guys a good toast, actually. So, yeah. If you want my opinion about chefs, I've given you my opinion. You know, I love watching Anthony Bourdain. You know, I loved watching him. Yeah, man, the restaurants and Parts Unknown, man, that was amazing, actually. He talked weird, you know, the way he spoke, it was like talking to a news anchor. It was a little different, it was a little weird, but, you know, the way he spoke about food was like, oh my gosh, this is so delicious, basically. And he went to Parts Unknown, basically. Parts Unknown in Spain, Parts Unknown in South America, Parts Unknown in Africa. You know, he went to Kansas City, and you know, I made a video of this too. Actually, the video that I made about the barbecue place. He named this on 13 places that you should try before you die. Actually, Joe's Barbecue. That place was delicious. I gave it a solid 8. Actually, it was really, really delicious. It was really good. He said that was one of the places. And one of the things that I'm going to do for you guys, I'm going to do this for you guys. Actually, I'm going to name my top 5 favorite burgers. I'm going to name you my top 5. You know, on my post, I'm going to name you my top 5 favorite fast food restaurants. And I'm going to name you my top 10, great places to eat in America, actually, when I start traveling. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what you guys need, actually. And that's what you guys deserve, actually, from a professional. Thank you for still being here, Esther. Very sweet of you. You're an amazing friend. Why are you such a great friend, Esther? I don't deserve it from you. Alright, give me a moment, guys. Give me a moment, guys. I'm gonna block you. I'm gonna mute you. I'm gonna block you guys off for a minute. 1 minute. Well, actually 30 seconds. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. But one of the things that I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were here for that actually. What did I want to be when I grew up? Actually, I really wanted to be an actor. Actually, I always wanted to be an actor. I always thought acting was a beautiful art. Actually, I mean like the art of acting in front of a screen or in front of an audience and selling your performance to an audience is beautiful, actually. So that's what I always thought about that. And I always have a place in my heart too, actually. Well, Esther, I'm your second Anthony Bourdain. Cheers. I'm Mr. Philly. Anthony Bourdain the second. So basically, you look at a performance. I look at a performance. Like I said, Richard Nixon, that would be easy to play because there's audio evidence of him. Actually, you base your performance. You watch his videos, you read books about him, and then base your performance off his mannerisms, his personality, and the way he spoke. Actually, so it'd be really easy. It'd be really hard to actually play a role of David Crockett because there's no audience evidence of it. You have to just read books and base your performance on that, basically. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know you saw me somewhere. I'm on YouTube, actually. Somebody told me. It's really it's really funny, actually. Now that I see people. When I see people at work or I see people at a store or something like that, I was like, have I seen you someplace before? I was like, you probably have. I'm on YouTube. And they're like, well, I don't watch YouTube. Well, I do watch YouTube, I was like, yeah, I'm on YouTube. And it's really interesting that, people look familiar because, people have doppelgangers. People, you say, well, I've never seen this person before. Maybe I have seen them passing or anything like that, So that's where I'm at, basically. I've seen this person here, I've seen this person there, or seen this person, somewhere, basically, Well, it's actually really funny, because, this Halloween, I'm writing a story, actually, and, my brother is also, my brothers have a YouTube channel, too, Dare Bros, and they also have a channel on Instagram, it's called The Outcast, actually. So, all three of them, I'm going to try and convince them. Hopefully they will do it, For this Halloween, I really want to make a good movie, actually. I want to make a movie based on, something that makes sense to me, actually. I have a really good story written. I really want to make an 80-minute video or a movie, actually. a horror flick or a scary movie, actually, based on my experiences and based on me, actually. You have a good night there, Kaylee. I hope to see you again. Nice to meet you. Love the conversation that we had. It was really good, but I really would like to actually make a movie sometime, actually. I have an outline. Now I just have to have dialogue, actually. It might be really crap, but you know what? I mean, I actually have a pretty interesting story, laid out, actually. So, yeah. I don't know if we're going to do it, but yeah. No, I'll be here for a little bit. Yeah. Thank you for telling me, Esther. I appreciate it. I'm going to take off too here in a second, but yeah. But I love scary movies, I love, doing things that are scary. And I really want to make a movie based on a cook or something like that. So the basic premise that I actually have outlined, actually, a cook, who gets fired that night at a small town diner, he's there alone and closing up, actually. And then somebody enters there and he's a psychopath and he starts terrorizing him, basically. So yeah, I really have a really good basic premise based on that, basically. You know what I mean? So I think that's really cool, actually. So yeah. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I had to go pee. Sorry. Well, I'm back. All right. Well, you guys are amazing. All right. All right. Nice to see you, Kelly. Though I really enjoyed seeing you. Had a good night. So what's there? I think everybody left. Actually, tell me the story. Actually. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. I was gonna say, I was getting in the conversation with this ED meow guy or whatever, and I just didn't want to have a conversation with him because he was a weirdo. And now I was actually asking you guys to bail me out. Now you're bailing me out. How you doing? How you guys doing? I'm having a great night. I hope you guys are having a great night too, just like me, actually. So yeah. I was talking about the great weather we're gonna have and all that fun stuff this weekend. We're gonna go fishing and all that fun stuff. So what I mean. Cheers. Mm. I'm audible now, so I hope you guys can hear. I hope you guys can hear me. So yeah. Oh dear. I'm Mr. Cellophane. You can bend my name. You can walk right through me. Riz right by me and never know I'm there. Oh dear. Why did I say that? Oh, I can't believe I said that. I said it. I'm Mr. Cellophane. You can bend my name. You can walk right through me. Whiz right by me and never know I'm there. Well, guess what movie that's from, actually. Yeah, guess what movie that's from. So my profession is I work at a factory. I clean molds. I make. I shouldn't say that. I cut soil. I cut wood every day. We make mailboxes and mailboxes and the front top of mailboxes actually. But my profession on YouTube is actually cooking. I love to cook. I love to cook different things. Actually, I love to bake. I don't like baking as much. I will do it for my fans. Actually, I do it during Christmas and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's what I do actually. Name a dish, I will cook it to a 5-star perfection. This is better than any other cooking channel that you would watch on the food channel actually, because we make cooking deliciously fun here actually. Awesome. You know what I mean? We make it awesome. So yeah, if you like food, you like cooking, you like food reviews, I do a lot of fast food reviews and food reviews in general, then you would like my channel actually. So yeah. That's what I do. So that's my profession. So does that make sense? Yeah. No, I have not worked in a restaurant yet. No, actually, no. No, I have worked in a restaurant. No, I was a busboy and I was also a dishwasher. I was a dishwasher when I worked in a restaurant, but I didn't go any further than that, actually. But I also did work in fast food. Fast food, I don't know if that counts. I worked in fast food for on and off for 4 or 5 years, actually. So, yeah. Does that count? I don't know. I hope that counts. I don't know if it does or not, but Is Esther still here? I want to talk to her. You can walk well, dude. Tongue. It's Fidel Castro. What the flip are you talking about? Yeah, Mr. Cellophane. You can bend my name. You can walk right through me. Whiz right by me. And never know I'm there. Oh, my voice sucks. Here we go. Oh dear. Oh dear. Guess what movie that's from? The one the lines I just mentioned. Guess what movie that's from? I didn't even plan on being online this long, actually. You guys are crazy. You know what I mean? You guys are crazy people, I tell you. But I will tell you, the next time that we cook, we are actually cooking delicious pizza. We're going to cook a delicious pizza, actually. Deep dish pizza. Pizza. You know what I mean? Hey, Tony, bring me a large pizza. A pizza. You know what I mean? I said, well, I do what I need to do, to get the views that I need to get, What's my favorite band? Journey. Oh yeah, the wheel in the sky keeps on turning, who's crying now? My favorite band, yeah. I like that. Oh. My door just creaked. I might have a ghost, actually, so yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So, not right now. No, I can't because I'm not next to my stove and I'm not cooking tonight. You know what I mean? Really, what? Yes, I like Journey. I love Journey. That's my favorite 80s band, you know? I don't even know who that is, honestly. I don't know who that is. There we go. Sorry, I was trying to plug. But I'm crazy. I'm a crazy person. You know what I mean? I ride the crazy train every day. I'm crazy. I'm crazy, crazy, crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, these guys crazy, you know. I love being crazy with you guys. You know what I mean? Anybody have questions, concerns, comments, or something that I should do, or something that I should cook, or things like that? You know, blah blah blah. You know, this, that, this. You know, I mean, I really, really would like to hear about that. You know. Oh dear. I guess you guys want to hear about that. You know. You guys need me to reboot the series and everything like that, or what? You know. I'm about to reboot the series, you know, if I don't get any questions, concerns, comments, or anything like that. Hi, is Esther still there, or Katie, or somebody that I could say goodnight to nicely, or something like that, you know? Oh, that's why I'm still here, you know? I just want to say goodnight to those two multiple people that actually watch my show and watch my channel and all that fun stuff, you know? So that's why I'm here. You know, I really would like to say goodnight to you guys, actually, so yeah. You guys like bonding with Mr. Philly? You know, well, there's many of these nights and many more to come, actually. So, yeah, it's going to be really amazing, actually. So, yeah. You guys like bonding with Mr. Philly? You know, we're going to have plenty of nights like this and plenty more, actually. So, you know, I'll give you guys a moment. You know, think about that. You know, I'll see you soon, actually. So, yeah. Would I rather what? Oh, and now we got some people on, actually, so I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, actually. What was your name? Would I rather do what, actually? So, yeah. Aqua. That's her name. Aqua. How you doing? Oh, dear. Would I rather do what? Are you going to give me 10 likes, actually, on my live, actually? I'd really like that, actually. So, yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. So, yeah. Hello, how you doing, Aqua? How you doing? How you doing? Now you're gonna say hello. How you doing? How you doing? You want to talk to me? Anything you want to talk about? Anything that comes to mind? Actually, you want to talk about my channel? You want to talk about what I do? You want to actually talk about my videos and all that fun stuff? Actually, yeah, I'd love to talk about that with you if you're actually a serious person, or unless you're a troll or something like that. Actually, so yeah, I'd love to hear your input. Actually, so yeah. Oh, my hair's long. This is the first. I haven't had a haircut since last October, actually. I'm gonna grow my hair out until the end of the year, actually, and see where it goes, actually, and maybe even longer, basically. But yeah, at some point next year, I'll get a haircut. But yeah, it's pretty cool, actually, having this haircut that I have had, actually. So yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. I'm not getting a haircut until next year, actually. So yeah, I'm gonna have long hair. I mean, you guys are gonna see me have long hair and put it in a ponytail. You know what I mean? No, I'm not into sports. I am not into sports. I watch football. I know a little bit about NFL football. That's it. I know about my teams and things like that. But other than that, if my teams are not playing, I really couldn't give a shit less. Actually, I don't even care. Actually, I believe sports is all predetermined and it's a distraction. To find out what's really going on. People spend 5 hours a day watching football. I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? Unless it's a team that I like. I watch for the love of the game, basically. You know what I mean? That's it. But I feel like the Super Bowl is all predetermined. You know what I mean? So yeah. I watch it. I watch it for the love of the game. I don't really care about this. I don't really care about the politics. I don't really care about the money that's involved with it. You know what I mean? If my teams are not playing, I don't really care. If I'm invited to if I'm invited to the Super Bowl with somebody, if I'm invited to a Super Bowl party, and that's what we're doing, then I'll watch it. You know what I mean? And but I watch it normally for the commercials. You know what? Like last year, I really did not like the halftime show, not because of the politics. I used to not like it. I didn't even like the actual. I really didn't even like the actual commercials. Actually, the commercials sucked. Actually, they really sucked so much. Actually, so that's me. Actually, that's how I felt about that. Actually, so yeah, commercials really sucked, and the everything else sucked. Actually. They weren't even that great, actually, but they did actually show. Can you hear me now? Good, 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 good. You know what I mean? That guy came back and actually did a cameo. I thought that was pretty cool, actually. But other than that, I really didn't like anything. The commercials actually sucked, actually. So yeah. Any other questions that you want to ask me, or what? Is Esther still here, or what? I'm gonna have a good weekend tonight. I promise you. I promise you. Anything else you want to talk about? Any other topic that you want to talk about? Have you watched my show? Are you gonna like and subscribe or what? Brother. Okay, that's fine. Are you gonna like and subscribe or what? If you don't want to, that's totally fine. Actually, have you watched my videos? If you like what you see, then you subscribe. If you don't like what you see, then don't subscribe. Basically, that's how I look at that. Well, that's a pretty interesting question, actually. How do I think about aliens? That's not political, actually, but you know what I mean. Well, I mean, like as a Christian, who believes in the Bible, actually, I will say, I mean, there is possibility. There is slight possibility there could be life on other planets, but have we found it yet? No, we have not found it yet. I mean, if there was, I feel like they would have gotten contact with us, but they have not done so already. You know what I mean? But I mean, like I feel like as a Christian, like if there were life on other planets, Jesus Christ, or God would have said worlds, not world, basically. If you read the Bible, he said one world. He didn't say two or three worlds, basically. You know what I mean? But there could be life on other planets that we don't know about. There could be life on other planets, but just leave it at that. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like if there was extraterrestrial life that could communicate, could act like humans, then we would have found them by now. But we have not found them. Have we? Have we found them yet? No, we have found imprints. None. We have found none. You know what I mean? No evidence. None whatsoever. I cook food. You're looking at it, actually. What's my hobby? What do I do? Well, look at my channel. I cook food, actually. I cook food. I rate food. I swim. I cook. And then, obviously, I travel. But I haven't been able to do that. I mean, like, a lot of things that I like to do outside of cooking actually requires two people, actually. So, yeah, I mean, like, thanks for liking and subscribing, actually. So, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I love caffeine, actually. I love caffeine in my body. I love to drink coffee, actually, and I love to drink soda. I love to drink soda, and I love to drink coffee, actually. So, yeah, I mean, like, I love to do a lot of things, actually. I love to cook, too, actually. So, yeah. I love to cook food, I love rating food, and I love sharing with other people. I mean, that's the reason why I actually have more followers than you guys do, actually. That's the reason why I have more followers than you, Quinn Davis, and Fart, that's the reason why I have more followers. I have more followers than both of you, though. I obviously doing something right, you know what I mean? Did you know that? Yeah, I have more followers than you, though. That's for sure. I know that for a fact, actually. Did you know that? Did you know that? Early? I mean, I would actually trash somebody too, actually, if I actually didn't have that many followers and, sucked that much, actually. I would trash talk somebody too, just like you're doing to me, actually. I mean, I'm just saying, I would do the same thing, you know what I mean? You can play your game with me all you want, there, partner. I have a mute button, you know that, right? You can play your game with me all you want,